Hello there, another video with new stories from Ethiopia and Eritrea. Firstly, leaflets have been distributed last night in Alamata city. It is being claimed that East Amhara Fano distributed these leaflets, threatening leaflets. Tigrayans are being threatened in Alamata, it seems. Secondly, viewers, Amhara region of Ethiopia, where security structure is collapsing, two top-level removals of security officials on regional level, which indicates that regional government is considering overhaul of region's security structure. That is why two top officials removed. But can this overhaul lead to improvement in regional government's control of the region? That remains to be seen. Thirdly, journalists, Ethiopian journalists fleeing the country. 5 journalists have fled Ethiopia in the last 1 month or so. And these 5 journalists, 3 of them were arrested twice in the last 1 year or so. Some are seen as pro-Tigray, some are seen, out of these 5, some are seen as pro-Tigray, some as pro-Amhara, some neutral. All came under state repression and then they decided to leave the country. Lastly, Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki has departed for another foreign visit. Isaias Afwerki has visited several countries after Pretoria deal, as if he was waiting for an end to the war in Ethiopia. He visited Russia, China, Saudi Arabia, then he was in Egypt. He was in Kenya too. These are official visits. Maybe he did visited some countries unofficially too, but these were his official visits in the last 6 months or so. Now he is on his way for another foreign trip. Firstly, viewers, Southern Tigray, Raya zone, disputed territory between Tigray and the Amhara regions. The status of this territory, future status in terms of ownership, will be decided in coming days. A referendum could be held here because we know that Alamata, Raya, Alamata, Quorum, people, governments, they have submitted a petition to House of Federation with more than 130,000 signatures asking House of Federation to announce holding of referendum in Raya Quorum. The petition is pending with the House of Federation led by former Amhara region's president Aganot Tishagar. House of Federation Speaker is Aganot Tishagar. Tigrayans were expelled from southern and western zones after the 2 zones came under Amhara control. Western zone under Amhara control since November 2020, because I think a week after the start of the war, Volkai, Tomara Saga, they came under Amhara control. Southern Tigray changed hands. It was under Tigray control, it was lost by Tigray, Tigray retook it. Then in August last year, Amhara forces retook Raya, Quorum. Amhara region's government a few days ago said that preparations are underway for holding of referendum to answer people's questions about identity and border. And most people say that referendum, if held, could be held in Raya, Quorum. And obviously, both Amharas, Tigrayans live in these 2 zones. demographic balance is crucial. Which ethnic group is in majority here? Tigrayans already expelled, now Amharas in majority. That is why Tigray will never agree to holding of referendum in Raya Volkait at this point of time. Tigray wants return of IDPs. IDPs who are in Tigray. And after that, Tigray might consider agreeing to referendum. Even after that, Tigray might not agree. But so far, at this point of time, no likelihood of Tigray agreeing to referendum, because right now there is Amhara majority in Raya Koram, Volkait, Amhara Sagade, because Tigrayans have been expelled. So before a referendum, more ethnic cleansing is underway in both zones, especially in both zones. Last night, leaflets were distributed. Leaflets were thrown, you can say, in Alamata city neighborhoods where Tigrayans live. Tigrayans are living in Raya Alamata, Koram, but they're not in majority now. Leaflets were distributed with threatening text. Reportedly, most sources say, leaflets were distributed by East Amhara Fano, led by Mere Budajo. East Amhara Fano, by the way, 2 days ago spoke, its commander, Mere Budajo, spoke, saying that Raya will not be given to Tigray. It's part of the Amhara region. He warned government. He, back then, I remember 2 to 3 days ago, he asked Amhara people in Alamata, right, to be prepared, to be vigilant, that federal government was planning to hand over Raya Koram to Tigrayans, Tigray government. Pamphlets with threatening writing distributed in Alamata city, in those neighborhoods where Tigrayans live. Tigrayans are being told to leave the area, and they're being told that through Tigrayans, TDF is being told to retreat. Tigray fighters are on border, the area controlled by Amhara forces militias and controlled by Tigray. In border areas, Tigray has deployed its fighters. Fighters have not entered the areas controlled by Amhara region. But mobilization of Tigray fighters has been seen towards border areas. So through these Tigrayans, Tigray forces are being threatened by East Amhara Fano firstly. Secondly, Tigrayans are being threatened who are living in Alamata. They should leave the city. Now, how can referendum be held if security and safety of Tigrayans and Amharas cannot be ensured in the two zones, especially in Raya, Alamata and Koram? It means by force Tigrayans can be expelled or they won't be allowed to return to their homes. If they don't return, how can referendum be credible? How will Tigray accept the results of the referendum? That is why I say that this issue of Raya, Alamata, Koram, Amhara Sagade, Volkait is turning into a very complex issue. Tigray is hoping that Ethiopian federal government will resolve the issue on its own. It will enforce the writ of the state. It will dismantle Amhara regional governments in both zones. It does not seem possible, by the way. Amhara region is backing, training, arming militias in these two zones, East Amhara Fano. And I fear that what is happening in the Amhara region could spill into Raya and Volkait too. The unrest which we are seeing in the Amhara region, where ENDF members, convoys being ambushed, PP members being attacked, regional police members, officials being assassinated. This unrest from the Amhara region could spill into Raya and Volkai, especially if ENDF tried to make a decisive move to dismantle the Amhara regional provisional governments in these two zones. So coming weeks and months are very crucial, viewers. It's not that Ethiopia is on the right track. Only positive development is that war has come to an end. Guns have been silenced in northern Ethiopia, but core issues are unresolved. New pillars of power are emerging, and federal government it must be strong to enforce its writ. Otherwise, we could see complication of this issue, which is already very complex issue. I don't know how the government, federal government, plans to resolve the deadlock between Tigray and Amhara regions. Secondly, security structure in the Amhara region is collapsing. I have been updating you regularly about Fano's attacks on security officials, police members, militia members, ENDF officers, camps. And Amhara regional government has removed two top security officials, those who were in charge of regional security. Advisor to Amhara regional president on peace and security has been fired. Kefale Esobalio is his name. Secondly, Deputy Chief of Peace and Security for the Amhara region fired too. His name is Commander Mangisha Evraris. Mangisha Evraris is seen as pro-Fano. Some say he is pro-Fano, by the way, because when Amhara regional forces were disbanded, which led to start of this insurgency in the Amhara region, he opposed that decision. That is why people say he has soft corner for Fano fighters. He has been fired. Some say he could be arrested, that he could be in touch with Fano fighters. It's difficult to say if he was backing Fano fighters or not, though Johannes Boyalio is in touch with Fano fighters and some other Amhara PP leaders too. These PP leaders, sometimes they have their loyalties with Amhara armed groups, and sometimes they're scared too. They don't want to be assassinated. So to be safe, they contact Fano fighters. They tell them that they're not part of the operation on Fano, just to protect themselves and their families. It's not that all regional government officials, security officials, PP members are supporting Fano fighters. They're scared too. That is why sometimes they contact Fano fighters and they say they are with them. But the removal of these two top security officials indicates that Amhara regional government will have to do something different. And can the regional government find people to lead these two posts? Deputy Chief of Peace and Security is a top post, and whoever is appointed to this post is going to be vulnerable to attacks from Fano. He'll be at risk, his family at risk. So who is going to take the responsibility? These are very tough postings. Let's see who is appointed now, the head of peace and security of the Amhara region, an advisor on peace and security to the regional president. Thirdly, viewers, Ethiopian journalists fleeing the country one after the other. If they are in Ethiopia, they have to back government's narratives about national, regional, local developments. Once they start sharing independent opinion, which is critical of the government, criticism is not tolerated by the government. And we have seen several Ethiopian journalists who have fled Ethiopia in the last 2 years. In the last 1 month or so, 5 Ethiopian journalists have fled the country. 2 Ethio Forum journalists, Iyas Shimalis Ababayo, who were arrested twice last year. Then they decided to leave Ethiopia for good. They are now based abroad. They have reactivated Ethio Forum YouTube channel. Teddy S. Fao, another journalist. Ethio Forum is accused of being anti-government, of being pro-TPLF. Teddy S. Fao, again, arrested twice. He has departed Ethiopia for good. 2 other journalists. One of them is wanted by the government, by the way. Mulugata and Berber is wanted. A few weeks ago, Ethiopian government published a list of those activists, journalists, scholars who are allegedly trying to overthrow the government. The list included names like Dr. Van Vossen, Maskaram Abira, some Amhara Fano leaders, Ethio 360 journalists. Mulugata and Berber was also included in that list. He was in Ethiopia when the list was prepared, and security forces were hunting him down. He could not be traced. Now he has left Ethiopia reportedly. He is owner of 251 Media, I think a YouTube channel. Adiso Derbe, Z Amhara Media journalist, has left Ethiopia as well. So you see, 5 journalists have left Ethiopia in just 1 month. And it means that anyone with connections can flee Ethiopia. If Mulugata and Berber, wanted at high level, can somehow manage to exit, it means that anyone wanted in Ethiopia can leave the country. And Mulugata and Berber's fleeing raises questions about the capabilities of Ethiopian security institutions. It means they are not in a position to guard their borders. Obviously, Mulugata and Berber left by road. By air, it wouldn't have been possible for him to leave the country. So by road, somehow he managed to leave the country. Lastly, viewers, Isaias Afwerki, Eritrean president, is on his way to Russia. Just a few minutes ago, Yemane Gebremeskel shared details of Isaias Afwerki's departure, accompanied by Usman Saleh, and maybe Yemane Gebremeskel could be there too, but Usman is there. Isaias Afwerki departed Eritrea from Asmara airport 2 hours ago. He is on his way to Russia. Tomorrow in St. Petersburg, Russia, Russia-Africa summit is starting. 2-day summit, 27 and 28 of July are the days when the summit will be held. Tomorrow it will start. Russia is trying to prove that Africa is on its side. That is why we could see entire African leadership in Russia. By the way, US also organized US-Africa summit earlier this year, and several African leaders were invited. Isaias Afwerki was not invited. US put Eritrea under sanctions in the past too. He was not invited. I think Sudanese Janel was not invited to Al-Burhan. Other African leaders, mostly, they were invited. Mali's coup leader was not invited to. And several African leaders attended that US-Africa summit. PM Abiy attended that summit too. Now, from tomorrow, Russia, starting Russia-Africa. Which African leaders will attend this summit? Will the number be greater than the number of African leaders who attended US-Africa Summit? We'll see tomorrow. So it's a very important development. We'll see on which side Africa stands, on Russian side or on US side. Isaias Afwerki, on his way, PM Abiy could follow too, I think. PM Abiy is expected to attend the summit. By the way, whenever Isaias Afwerki visits foreign countries' planes take him. So, Eritrea does not have its own airline now. Its airline came under sanctions and it was dismantled, you can say. Now, if Saudi Arabia invites Eritrean president, Saudi Arabia sends its royal plane to take Isaias Afwerki from Amhara to Jeddah. And now, when Russia is inviting Isaias Afwerki, so Russia has sent its planes. So Isaias Afwerki's travels are for free, I think. He's not spending anything, it seems. And I think a Russian plane took him from Amhara to St. Petersburg. Over tomorrow, viewers, about the names of African leaders who are going to attend Russia-Africa Summit tomorrow. Thank you for watching.